Handle Your High with Tadayoshi. All right, welcome to Handle Your High with me, Tadayoshi. I have Brandon Curry. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, man?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I appreciate you staying up late, man. I know it's late up there. When I was out there, it is a time difference. What is it, like 7 hours or something like that? Difference from the States, something like that?
Yeah, about 7 hours, I guess you say. Yeah.
For me, it is at least, or 7 or 7. Let's see, 5. It's 5:14, so it's probably like 7, 8, 9 hours difference.
Right.
How long have you been there? I know you travel back and forth. You train there, and then you travel back and forth.
I came here like a few days after, I guess, Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. So how much does that put? I know this last year you did that before the Olympia, and you made some really incredible progress while you're there. And I've always attributed it to, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I've always attributed to your the level of focus that you're able to apply when you're there without any distractions. Everyone asked me when I went over there to judge the last time, they were like, "Oh man, what's the secret sauce over there?" I said, "Man, there's no secret sauce. It's really that you're able to focus. There's like no distractions. Like it's all about bodybuilding." But what's your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's the kind of environment where you kind of detach away from everything, and you can really get to the business of bodybuilding. It's everything's here that you need for bodybuilding. You don't have to worry about searching for this, searching for that. I live right next door to the gym. I get my food delivered pretty much every day. Eat smart. But the coach is right here on call. He's checking on me whenever he needs to be.
Sager, who does all that Eat Smart stuff. Sager, he's a great guy. Man, that dude's awesome. I love him. And he treated us out some of his food there. Great food, man. Like, he needs to bring that. I told him he needs to bring that shit to the U.S.
Yeah, man. He's spreading around the Middle East, man. I know he went to Saudi Arabia like last year. I went out there with him to an event where he opened the store out there. So, yeah, he's kind of spreading around the Middle East like batteries with oxygen. Yeah. They're kind of keeping it on this side for now, I guess.
So how many months are you going to be there? After the Arnold, are you going to go back home and spend some time with the family?
Yeah, once I get to the U.S. for the Arnold, man, I'm gonna go right back home after the show and hang out till summertime for my Olympia prep. I guess this prep is no longer than like 12 weeks.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. It's just about getting business done and focus, and then get back home and enjoying the family. You kind of appreciate being home when I'm home, and when I'm away, it's time for business.
Does it? What's the biggest challenge for you being over there? Is it being away from the family, or is it, or something? Is there something else that that you didn't expect? Like, I'm sure you knew, okay, it's going to be tough, but in some respects it's probably easier. But
well, I guess the greatest challenge here is those significant moments that you're not necessarily there for, that you maybe miss out on. You only get to maybe see on the video or Skype or FaceTime or whatever it may be. You kind of miss a little. You got out of the loop, and luckily my wife kind of keeps me informed, so I'm not too far out of the loop. She's always updating me, or my daughter's getting videos of this and videos of that. So I miss I guess most of wrestling season.
Oh,
football season. I caught the most of football seasons with my boys, so that was good. So I'll be back for soccer season, and hopefully I'll catch the end of wrestling season. So.
Wow, you have your you have two boys, right? Or
yeah, I have 3 boys.
Okay.
One daughter.
One daughter. So are they all in sports? Like, that's a lot of sports, man.
Yeah. Everybody's pretty much in sports. My youngest is 5. He just started wrestling this year, so wrestling was his first.
Oh wow, 5. Well, he's going to be a superstar then.
Yeah. He got to get to it. His brothers are involved, so it kind of. They may not want to, but once they get out there, it's like, you're not gonna sit here and bug me on practice. You gotta do something, So they eventually, get out there, get out of this shell, and have some fun. So.
Did you start off in other sports? I never asked you that. If you ever started off in other sports like football or.
Well, back in the day, I guess I was born in the era where they were trying to give all the active kids Ritalin, all the active boys Ritalin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They took me to they tried to do that. My parents, my mom and dad wasn't having it.
What did they diagnose you with, like ADD or something?
Yeah, they tried. This before they even had a diagnosis.
You're like one of the most chill guys I know, man.
it was like, but I was a hyperactive kid. I was always busy. I was always into stuff. So they saw that, and they wanted to give me the Ritalin, the medication. My parents was like, nah. So they just put me in gymnastics at an early age.
Oh,
So
gymnastics.
that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So were you like
I
on the
did
pommel
that.
horse or like the rings or something?
Yeah, just a little that and tumbling and body control. I think it's one of like the best things for kids actually growing up. Actually, my son's kind of started there as well. It's just good for just body awareness all together. But from there, you get into school. I wrestled in middle school, played football. Middle school, ran track in high school, football.
Oh.
I've done everything from grappling and I've always been involved in sports.
So going from all those kinds of sports, those are really kind of team-based sports. Like bodybuilding's really an individual sport, pretty much. What moved you to that? I've never asked you that question, but what moved you from these other things to bodybuilding? What made you gravitate to it?
After I was in college and I was playing football, I got the wake-up call with the politics. So in football, and I wanted to play now. I was impatient, didn't want to wait. So I wanted to play now, so I kind of was pissed. And then I got caught up in, I was like, let's see, put it this way. I was in a situation where I was very well taken care of in college. So I really didn't need to live the college life, so to speak. That, the struggle, I guess you would say. But so I got away from football and I had this girlfriend at the time. She took me to the gyms around town because I like to train. Found this nice little hole in the wall spot where I started, that's where I started bodybuilding. It was a powerlifting gym at the time. Oh. But I started bodybuilding there because one of the trainers he was bugging me like for a month. He was bugging me about competing. He asked about 5 times. I was like, no. I told him no every time. And I guess the last time I had time to think about it, apparently about 4 weeks out from the show. And I said, I'm in here training. I might as well do something with it.
Really?
So he showed me how to pose. Yeah, he showed me how to pose. And he gave me this low-carb diet. And I went in and won, man. I went in and won my first show. I won the novice, the middleweight, and overall the first show. It was on my campus, so it was convenient.
Where was this at?
It was Middle Tennessee State. I think it was a Supernatural Bodybuilding Federation.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't know anything about bodybuilding, but they kind of pushed me into it, and and then I was hooked. So that's kind of how it happened.
Wow, we all get involved in it for various reasons. I got involved because I was had self-esteem issues, and I thought it was my gateway to to really feeling good about myself. And I thought it would solve all my problems. Of course, just creates more problems. but it did teach me. It did put me on a path that I appreciate today. A path of learning, a path of growth, personally and physically. But has bodybuilding put you on a kind of a path of discovering more about yourself?
Yeah, people ask me they ask me, so what is bodybuilding to you? What is it? I said, basically, it's a journey of self-discovery,
Absolutely.
Even though I was naturally caught on good, had the genetics, you eventually reach a level to where, you're going to meet competition. You're going to meet guys that are just as talented as you are. And if you don't pick up those fundamental skills of discipline, hard work, and, you don't develop that tough skin and be able to be judged and be able, people to just look at you and critique you. If you don't develop that resistance to that and respect it for what it is, it can just tear you down mentally. So that mental toughness that bodybuilding builds, and that's just desire to get better and practice discipline. It can carry you a long way. I've seen guys out here that can't deal with these circumstances. They find the loopholes, excuses to eat what they want.
Really?
They want to train. They think they know everything about their body. The coach can't tell them nothing.
Oh wow.
So it don't matter where you are, what kind of environment you are. If you don't have to pick up the necessary distance of the sport, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're just gonna be in your own way.
Was that hard for? Ever since I've known you, since you were an amateur and became pro, you have fantastic physique. I think you have wonderful, just a lot of God-given abilities in terms of your genetic potential, but you've really, really blossomed. But that seemed to me like when I looked at you, I could be wrong, but when I looked at you, I thought, man, that piece must have been the easy part. The hard part is, like you said, being judged and looking at other athletes and really putting yourself into the mix of this and trying to find a pathway to being better. Like you said, self-discovery. What was the toughest piece for you in that little realm?
Well, when you start off and everything is easy, and then you realize, everything is easy, and I'm having this success. I really don't even know anything, because you reach a certain level, and you're thinking, man, I don't really know. I'm here, and I made it here, and I had no clue. I have no clue how I got here. It's basically, it's just raw talent got me here. So then I go through a process of realizing, okay, I need to learn how to do this. I need to learn this about myself. And then you work with different coaches, and they kind of, take you here and take you there. And you got all these experiences, and some of them are successful, some of them are not so successful. But you're like, man, I'm supposed to be good at this. This is something that came easy to me. But then you reach that wall like I did, and you get this smack of reality. It's like, nah, it's not gonna be as easy as it used to be. You got to find you got to basically grind. You got to find what you're really made out of. And I reached that point where everybody's like, this dude is done. He's off.
Really?
He's wasting talent. Everybody's calling me lazy. Everybody's calling me this and calling me that. And it's just basically not being able to find that groove. They don't know how easy things came to me in the beginning. So
you kind of learned some of that late.
Yeah, I had to rework everything, and and just be stubborn about it. Like, no, I'm not gonna give up, because I know I can be good at this, and I believe I can be good at this. So it just gave me that persistence and that push and that drive. Just continue to believe in myself and believe in my abilities, no matter what the circumstances look like. Because this sport can be ugly.
Yeah.
Totally. Sometimes, it can be ugly. Everybody's patting you on the back. Everybody's cheering for you.
You're a hero 1 minute.
And then next thing you know, everybody's critiquing you. Everybody's telling you what you ain't doing right, and what you need to work on. So it can be both sides. So I caught both ends. And one of my I guess my inspirations to look at that was Ronnie. When I found out about Ronnie's story about Ronnie didn't have it the easiest. Everybody counted him out. He struggled for a long time. He was on nobody's radar. And then all of a sudden, when he said he wanted to give up, I guess it was in '97. And Vicky at the time told him, no, you ain't giving up, And next thing you know, he comes back and he wins the Mr. Olympia. So it's just that stubbornness, that grind, just not giving up on yourself, having the right people around you, to kind of believe in you, and just trying to cancel out the other noise and the distractions.
That's the toughest part. That really is you're absolutely correct, man. That's the toughest part. Really being able to block out, really focus, and take all the distractions out. More than distractions, it's the other voices that are trying to penetrate into who you are, trying to tell you who you are, when inside you you have something else that you say, man, this is not who I am. Like, I am not that person you're saying I am. And also at the same time trying to create something too. You're trying to create something new. Like, I want to be better. I want to be, this other thing that I'm trying to create. And it's hard to do that in the midst of all that noise. What did you use to ground you, or what did you use to sift through that?
Well, before and foremost, I'm a man of faith. And I wouldn't be in this sport if I didn't feel like it was destined for me to be here.
Absolutely.
Part of my story is bodybuilding is a complete hobby for me. I didn't take it seriously in the beginning because I didn't see any future in it, like money or anything, success. But I went to my first Olympia in let's see, what was it?
By the way, that's funny to say that in the same sentence. I wasn't taking this seriously, and then when I went to my first Olympia, because
I was pretty much like a fitness model, bro. I was in muscle and fitness, and I had a manager who kind of led me through the amateur ranks. And I didn't really know what he was doing at the time. Adam Silver. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know he was kind of like laying it out for me. I was just having fun and, being successful at each level. So we go to the Olympia, and I'm there with some of his models. I think Jamie Easton is one of the ones that won. I think it was one of the Roads to the Pros kind of event thing. She ended up winning, but they invited all the winners to the Olympia, the Weeder booth. That's when they had the Weeder booth with the food and
I remember
at the top back in the day. So I was there, and it was like, man, I'm up here with all these people that I see in magazines. I'm having fun. I'm eating free food, drinking. I wasn't even really supposed to be up there. I just came with the right people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking I'm there, and I'm going to see Ronnie Coleman break the record. I'm like, God, this is great. I'm going to see You know, he comes out as Moses. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. So when they call the results and they call him as the first runner-up, man, I know the place was loud, but for me, it just was quiet. And I'm looking like this, and I'm like, wow, I'm looking at the stage, and I just feel inside of me this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, this is why you're here.
Oh, wow.
Because to me, that was impossible. Seeing Ronnie get beat that night was impossible.
Wow.
So from that moment on, I was like, okay, this is not a
the veil was
I gotta treat this like it's like a job, you know. So that's from that moment. I think I went from, let's see, it was 07 was my first U.S. stage.
Right.
Nobody knew who I was.
No.
I had done junior nationals the year before as a light heavyweight. I got second, but still nobody knew who I was. So in 07, that's when everybody kind of recognized who I was. I remember. Was a heavyweight, and I got second as a heavyweight.
I remember, yeah. I was there.
The guy used to play football, you know, what's his name? Griffin. No, not Griffin.
I don't
played for the 49ers as a fullback. He beat me.
Oh, okay. I remember who. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember his name right now.
Man, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, then everybody was calling me. From BSN to Connie was trying to work with me. And let's see, MD, Flex Wheeler was calling me. You know, I was just getting all these calls, and I was an amateur. I was like, man, how do these people get my number? I had no clue, you know? And that's when things kind of took off on the amateur side, you know? But so for me, it was like, that was the foundation. It was like, I feel like for me, this is like destiny. This is like, I have purpose. Because at that time in my life, I had no purpose. I was in college. I was pursuing an exercise science degree. You know, I was thinking I was going to be in strength coaching. And then I realized I was making more money as a trainer. And I didn't want to go through the steps to, you know, basically he told me, you're going to open the place up, you're going to shut the place down, and you're going to make a little bit of money. So you're going to be here the longest, and you're going to make the least amount of money. You kind of got to work your way up. And I was thinking, man, I'm making more money in less time, so I don't think I want to be a strength coach. I don't think I want to work my way through these ranks, you know? Because, you know, with each team, and then, of course, when that coach leaves, it can totally change. Yeah. You don't have a job, so...
Unless you become the AD, not athletic director.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't see myself in that, and that's with the reality setting in. I didn't see myself in that field, and so I had to find something, you know. And that's what bodybuilding, I guess, came. I mean, I told people I started my bodybuilding journey on student loans. I did. I just was on the internet, you know. It's like, you know. After that show, I was like, where else can I compete? I went to Musclemania, and I figured I could beat that team champion or whatever it was. I went there and beat him, and it was just kind of, I started on student loans, but, you know, I don't have any more student loans, thank God, but that's just how I went. I just took some risks.
That's good. I think that's what it takes sometimes. Like, yeah, that's that faith in yourself. I think faith to me is believing without proof, right? Without physical proof, and without some people, but most people don't really understand what that means to have faith in themselves. It's one of the questions I ask people before I work with them is, do you have faith in yourself? And there's no right answer. I just want to know where they're at. And a lot of times, they almost always say yes, but the answer is almost always really no. They intend to have faith, but they only have as much faith as the circumstances support it. Once the circumstances don't support it anymore, they lose their faith. Oh, I guess I couldn't do it. Oh, I don't have a good enough genetics. Or, oh, you know, like this might not have enough money. Or it's like, okay, well, that's not faith, man. And so I think lots of great people talk about it, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and everybody else, all these people and anybody who's done anything really fantastic out there in the world, they, you know, don't listen to anybody else. Let's block out that noise, right? Like, so was there, at that, when you're up there watching Ronnie lose, like that was your turning point, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean that's that quiet, still voice, you know. I can't say it's always been faith in myself in general. I just felt like, you know, I feel like God is just kind of, was like, look, this is what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's kind of how I figured out who I was going to marry. I wouldn't have married my wife if I didn't feel like God told me I was supposed to marry my wife.
You have a really wonderful wife, I have to say. I've known her for several years, and I'm so happy for both of you. You guys are awesome. So.
Yeah, I met my wife in a dream, you know.
Really? Tell me about that.
I met my wife in a dream. I was like in high school, and you know me trying to live that player life. You know, I knew it wasn't necessarily right. I knew my mama wasn't gonna be proud. So I was like, hey. you know, God, if you want me to be straight, man, you gotta show me who my wife is. You know, if you want me to stop this, you gotta show me.
Give me a reason.
I'm having too much fun. Next thing you know, I had a dream, you know, and I'm like, wow. And the dream was real, so real. I told my mom about it. I was like, Mom, look, man, I just had this dream of a girl I'm gonna marry. I knew her name and everything.
Really?
Yeah. So it was summertime. So my mom was like, she took it. She's like, I never tell my mom nothing like that because I wasn't a mama's boy. You know, I had 2 younger sisters. Kind of kept to myself, but I wasn't really a mama's boy. So she was like, what? He's telling me this? And then summer went by. I just forgot. You know, I started forgetting. But as school started to come back, I started to remember again. You know, so I'm remembering. The wheels are turning. I'm thinking, I'm getting these recurrences of these dreams every night. So I'm thinking, I did have that dream. So we came to the first day of school. I'm looking for this girl. I'm straight looking for her. I'm like, where's this girl at, you know? And first day of school, she didn't come. So I happened to be done with most of my classes. I'm there for second day of school. I'm working as an office worker, like an attendance office. And basically, we go get attendance folders and come back and do this and that. So it's at the end of the day. I'm in the office. Nobody ever comes in there. I'm looking down the hallway. My buddy's playing music. And I had a personal earthquake. That's what it felt like.
Oh.
Like the room started shaking.
Really?
And I look down the hallway, and I see a group of people walking towards me. And I'm thinking, who are these people? And nobody ever comes in the office. And this family comes in the office. Okay? And I'm like, okay, the family's in the office, and there's 2 girls. 2. They're from Hawaii, 2 girls. There's dad and the stepmother. So I'm thinking, wow. I'm like, okay, well, who is it? Which one is it? You know, which one is it?
You felt like it was one of these girls.
Yeah, I'm like, which one is it, right? Well, not realizing this is the one I was talking to. I was having a conversation with him. We was talking about wrestling. We was talking about this and talking about that. But I figured it didn't dawn on me that this was the one I was talking to, because I was like, which one is it? So I was like, I'm gonna wait a week and figure out which one is it. So I knew better than to attack the new girls. I knew you're at a high school, right? And all the guys are gonna attack these new Hawaiian girls there. You know, I'm in Tennessee. They ain't never seen nothing like this. So I'm like, I waited a couple weeks or whatever, and I just stood in one spot with my buddy this day, Jonathan. And every time she walked by, which I guess I picked the right one, because every time this girl walked by, my wife, I'd wave. I just wave. She'd wave. She'd go about her business. So every day she got accustomed to me waving at her. And it was like, okay, she expected to see me every day. So I went to bed, and it was like, the pressure was on. And it's like, man, you got to talk to her tomorrow. So
You're psyching yourself up for it.
No, you know, I just felt the pressure. It's like, I got to talk to her tomorrow. It's like, it became urgent because I was just being patient. I was waiting it out, you know, letting all the, you know, people to ask her out and getting her, you know, she's so used to saying no, you know, it's like routine.
You don't want to catch that wave.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that guy. So it's one day when I said, okay, I was like, okay, I was prepared in my mind to ask her, to speak to her. She comes down the hall, the sun's hitting her in a special way. She's got her hair in a bun. She's kind of dressed up, and I'm thinking,
it's like a movie, man.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, now today is the day. So I'm like, I'm trying to be smooth, trying to find my words. My boy's standing here, he's witness. So I call her over, you know? Now the rumor was she had a boyfriend.
Oh.
And she had him on her binder, and whenever anybody would ask her, you know, about dating or whatever it would be, hitting on her, she'd show him her boyfriend in the binder. So I'm prepared for this, right? So I come over, I talk to her, you know, I ask her, can I get a number or whatever. She gives it to me, straight up. I didn't get no boyfriend in the binder thing. This is good. This is good. So we got to talking. We became friends.
Now, how old were you guys again? How old were you guys?
We were 17.
Okay.
High school.
Okay.
We became friends. You know, we were just good friends. I used to see her every day. I walked to the class, you know. And all my friends, they didn't believe me. All my teammates, they were like, "You're not talking to this girl." I didn't feel like I had to prove it. I was like, no, it's no big deal. Y'all got to believe me. It don't matter, you know. So the thing came, and I think winter started to come. And apparently, she was only there for her grandmother. Her dad's mother was sick, and she needed to help take care of her. But she didn't like this wintertime thing at all because she's from Hawaii,
right?
And she wasn't prepared for it.
I mean, I don't like winter.
So she's ready to go home, And so after the end of the semester, she's literally leaving, and I'm like, what? No, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This is like, it broke me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to take her to prom. I'm trying to do all this kind of stuff. It broke me. So I ended up going to prom. I ended up doing nothing. I didn't want to have anything to do with anything. But she was also the first person that told me that I should be a bodybuilder.
Really?
In high school, yeah. She saw me flip. I did some flipping. She saw my six-pack, and she's like, you should be a bodybuilder. And I said, no, I don't want to be on stage in no Speedo and oil all on me. I was like, no way. So, but it was like a year later that I told her I wanted my first bodybuilder. So she went home, it's the time we went to the airport. I saw her off and everything. And we had,
so you guys were dating?
Moment.
Were you guys dating, or were you guys just?
No, we didn't date. We were just friends.
We were just friends.
We were just friends. So we hung out like at Arnold Hotel. It was just like a nice little hotel, Gaylord Hotel in the city. It's like a biodome. So we got there. It was Christmas time. Everything was decorated. So we had a little romantic moment. We was there with some friends and everything. And it was cool. And it's like, man, I kind of I really bonded with her. So I'm going to go see her off at the airport the next morning. And this is when you could go through security.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you didn't have a ticket. You know what I mean?
When you could see people off.
Talking, and I asked to see her license. And that's when we found out we had the same middle name. She was like, no way. I was like, so I showed her my license. So basically, Brandon Lee, we had the same middle name. Okay. And for some reason, my mom remembered that was one of the details of the dream. That I didn't even remember.
Oh, you didn't remember it? Oh, wow.
Until my mom, I didn't even tell her about the dream. We got married and everything, and my mom comes to visit us in California. And my mom tells her.
She's like, you got
to So I never told her. I never told her anything about it. But my mom is the one that told her. This is after we got married. So this was like years later.
Wow. Like so destiny.
Yeah. So, I mean, she did visit like one time. She's supposed to visit 9/11. But 9/11 happened, and of course, nobody could fly.
Right.
so it's like 7 years, bro. 7 years until I saw her again. So what was the first place I see her?
Where?
2006 at the Mr. Olympia.
Oh, wow. So from high school, all the way, like, you just, like...
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
So it's like, it just so happened, like, I was on a plane and had a feeling. I was like, I was thinking I was going to see her. I don't know why. So I'm in the expo. And I'm walking around, and I'm actually looking at the girls with the painted boobs, the girls.
Yeah, the body paint.
My manager introduced me to like one of the world champion arm wrestlers. In the middle of a handshake, I hear somebody say my name. And I put my hand on his chest, and I look, and she's standing right there.
You're like, whoa!
I didn't even finish the handshake. and it kept me out of VIP. It literally kept me out of VIP that night when I went to his party. He was pissed. He wouldn't let me in. So I went and we just kind of hugged. And next thing I know I felt like I was hugging her so long. I opened my eyes. I'm looking around and just people just standing around looking at us.
Oh wow!
And I was
awesome.
like, oh. But it was crazy because she was there. She was there as a brand ambassador for one of the supplement companies. And I was just there for management. And it was like the first time we had seen each other forever, and it just happened to be at the Olympia.
Wow.
So, we went from the Olympia to being at the Arnold together, we just kind of rekindled the relationship. And the opportunity came for me to come out to California. Well, she moved to California, first of all, because she was in Hawaii. She moved out to California around her sister, just randomly. And she mentioned me prepping for the USAs with her in California. So I happened to be having some problems at home. Just so happened.
Just destiny.
That could have been legal issues. And I got told by a particular guy who worked for law enforcement that, I should probably leave. So it was cool. So I was like, man, I got somewhere to go. So I took up on the opportunity and left. Same time that my 14-year-old dog died. So it's like, I really had nothing. I basically gave my stuff away, packed a couple boxes, and I went to California. Prepared for the USAs.
That was, what, 2007?
2007, yeah. We had nothing, bro. We had nothing.
That's
we
awesome.
In California, we have a car. I had 2 cars at home. I went to California, I had a car. I had to walk to the gym. We walked to the grocery store. We walked everywhere. I mean, it was just like this, this raw, real relationship. You know, we started from the bottom.
That's actually pretty cool because, you know, you've been able to see yourselves through thick and thin, through sort of everything. And and that's, I think it's really important. The more stuff, I watched this movie called Minimalism. It's on Netflix. It's about these guys who wrote this book about minimizing all these things in our life, because the more things we have, that we tend to get focused on them. And especially in relationships, I can definitely see that there's all these distractions too. Just like in a bodybuilding career, when you simplify all that stuff, then all of a sudden you're forced to focus on the person. It sounds like that's what happened to you. Even something simple like walking to the store.
We didn't have anything she had some months of money playing blackjack, so she had a little money saved. This is before I turned pro. I had a little contract money, but it wasn't the big contract money because I didn't get the big contract money until after I actually turned pro, which was like, apparently I wasn't there long before we got married. She told me I went on vacation. I had to travel with BSN for like a week, and I come back and we end up getting married in Vegas. We drove down to Vegas and got married. And that's a story in itself. You know what I mean? That's a whole story in itself, man. It was crazy, but so it was just we were young and we were naive, and I was just doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And at the time, ignorance was bliss, man.
That's right, man. Well, it sounds like to me, man, it sounds an awful lot like that something was leading you through your life in very specific ways.
Of course, and that's what I'm saying. That's that small still voice. I feel like, no matter if you got faith in yourself or not, if you trust a higher power, if you believe in God, you figure if I'm gonna do what's right, then or what I believe is right for me, then it can't fail me, right?
Right. Absolutely.
That's how I feel. It's like if I can like something a lot and go on this path and pursue it with all my heart, but it doesn't guarantee me anything unless I know for a fact that, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's kind of how I am in life. It's like, I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not supposed to be, and that's why I'm here,
Well, it felt that way with your wife, it sounds like, and it felt that way with bodybuilding, right?
Yeah. That's pretty much why I'm here. Like, my wife asked me, like, probably like a year before I came to Kuwait, would you go to Kuwait if they asked you? And I said no.
You're like, no, I wouldn't.
I said, because I didn't want to think about it. The opportunity hadn't presented itself to me. I didn't want to ponder on things that were just out of reach because I didn't understand how that was going to happen.
Right. Smart though. It's smart. It's smart not to worry about stuff that you don't have to worry about.
Exactly. But it just happened after 2016, placing last at Olympia. I talked to my coach Abdulla after prejudging. He had just worked with Victor Martinez, kind of revived him.
Uh-huh.
And I said, man, you did a great job with Vic, bro. He said, man, I really like your work because I was impressed. And he looks at me, he says, you want to come to Kuwait? And I was like, he says, I think I can make you top 6 in the world. And I was like, I tell you what, I said, I'm going to be in Kuwait in 2 weeks because I came for the Kuwait Pro. And I said, I'll check it out, give it a feel, and I'll let you know. So I come here. He knows everything about me already. He knows my best looks. He studied me, and he told me how long they've been around the sport and been watching. But these guys have been around just watching everything for a while, so they love bodybuilding. And he just was so into everything, and he already had a plan laid out. So
wow.
So it was like,
that's called assuming the
sale. My wife, I'm like, I'm gonna go, and I get home and my wife's like, so you call him yet? You call him, tell him when you're coming. Call him, tell him when you're coming. And she's bugging me about it. I'm patient. I'm just like, nah. I said, I already told him I'll be here around this time. No reason to bug him about it. So she was on me.
So she had faith in him as well, right?
Yeah, she knew something was going on, and it was definitely what I needed because the chemistry I had with my coach Abdulla is crazy. It's just crazy. And I've worked with a lot of good coaches. I can't say I've worked with bad coaches.
Right.
I've had some of the best coaches. But, just the chemistry I have with him, his enthusiasm, his faith, and what we can do as a team is also pretty big too. So.
I think that So what I sense, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the things that makes a really truly great coach is something that you're describing about Abdulla. And I don't know Abdulla. I know him just through social media. I think we've talked to each other briefly through messages, but he seems like a really wonderful guy. I think that what makes a really great coach for a particular athlete is that they believe in you. They have a vision that they believe. And there's a many coaches, really great coaches out there, and there's a lot of them out there, especially a lot of the big ones, that they have faith in themselves. And they feel like they're doing you a service almost in some ways, and that's okay too. For some guys, this works well for, but I think that a coach needs to be a good leader in some ways. They have to have the vision for you as well. You can't be the only one who believes. You know what I mean? You can't be let's see. So that's wonderful. I think that's man, that's all. Because I'm big on mindset. I talk about it, I preach about it, I write about it, I do videos about it, and I think, and I even actually emailed last year, I think it was, Bader, and mentioned that, hey man, you should consider having a mindset coach for your athletes, because if you get the mind right, the body will follow. I believe in this, right? And you were talking about like belief and faith in yourself and all these things, and that doesn't come naturally in our culture, in our society, because it wants to tell you, and especially like you said, the sport is like hell on people's egos, right? Like
right.
Pro bodybuilders are the worst, right? Like they get one criticism, it's like, oh my god, they fall apart sometimes.
right.
Some of the guys will just stay off social media the last couple of weeks before a show, because they don't want that affecting their mind, and that's smart.
Yeah, just don't stress, right? I find it funny, man. I find it funny because it's just a funny process to me. It's a funny process when people show up in my inbox and they give me advice based on nothing. I like it. I just like it. I put a like on them. Like, they wasted their time to come tell me this, critique me, or to judge me in this way. It's fine.
Right.
It amuses me. It's interesting. It's human.
I imagine most of it's done with good intention, right? They want you to do well. They're like, hey man, you should do this, or hey, you should try this, or whatever it is that they're offering.
Right. It's interesting. I find that our humanness is very, very interesting to me. It can be frustrating at times dealing with human beings, but when you break it down and you simplify it and you analyze, just like, man, we can be a mess sometimes.
Oh yeah,
you're a real trip. You know what I mean? So it's like those. When I see that, man, and I think about it, I'm like, what? Even when it's like negative and it's not in good intention, I'm thinking, what motivated you today to come here?
You got up today.
On my page, and just do this. Or in my inbox. I don't really understand.
They spend all kinds of time and mental energy to put something down. I know. I think the same thing sometimes. I'm like, wow, man, like you really don't know this person, but you're going to spend all this time and mental energy and focused on that. Like, it has. What it brings me to know is that it's not really about you. It's about them. It's.
One of my favorite things to see is when somebody comes on my page and they're fans of another athlete and they're tagging another athlete on my page or hyping another athlete. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. Why are you on my page? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh well. I guess I don't know. I don't know what to think about. I guess I should be flattered that you.
They're trying to gain. They're probably trying to grab a hold of some of that momentum that you have. Which right now, I really have to say, and I saw this last year, and I've had and I've been very vocal about it. That you created some really wonderful momentum in your, and it has solely to do with. I never thought of you as a lazy bodybuilder or anything like that before. I always thought you had wonderful potential. But obviously there was some missing ingredient for you. And I think some of it was focus, and some of it was probably because I never saw you, like I said, as a lazy athlete, as a lazy person. Sometimes we just need to get some of this momentum, and sometimes it's helpful to have somebody who has the same vision, like Abdulla, to have the same vision and help you bring it together. Because none of us do that. I don't care what anybody says. I've heard. Last year after the Chicago Pro, what's his name? Who won? Wonderful bodybuilder. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name.
Is it Puerto Rican guy?
No, black guy. Massive. Michael Lockett. So
Michael Lockett.
And I like him. He seems like a nice guy. I don't really know him really well, but he went on social media. He said something about he really was like a rant about how he did everything on his own. He was and he was sort of proud of that, and I get that. That's fine, but my knowing in this world is that none of us do any of this stuff alone. Like, we don't do it alone, man. Whether it be a higher power but we have a host of like people that who indirectly and directly support us and help us and move us along this path. And
they dealing with all our crap, right?
And it's really important to recognize that as an athlete, as a person, as an individual in this life, because when you recognize it and you have that awareness, then it makes you more powerful. You know, you gain more from this. Like, you know, like, I feel good. Like, people always ask me, like, why are you the way you are, Tad? Like, because I'm the beneficiary. Like, I love everybody, but I also am the beneficiary here. Okay, I feel it too. But when I go out there and like that's why you never hear me rant and stuff, because like that makes me feel bad. Like, I don't want to talk about shit I don't like, man. Like that.
Bad. Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm like, I can see people winding up, you know, on social media, like they're winding up, like, fucking Trump this and this and that. Like, man, like
I just don't want to see the playback. You know, I don't want to see it played over and over again. If I rant, I don't want nobody recording. You know, yeah. I'm like, I don't want to nobody see. I don't want to watch it over and over again. Me ranting. You know?
So that year. That, I really like that story. It sounds like really, man. Wow, that's a pretty powerful story about you meeting your wife, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that was, you know, I believe that there are certain things in this life that are destined. Like, that we have this certain, that we come here in this experience for very particular reasons sometimes, whether it be, you know, a higher power or whatever the purpose is or whatever the reasons are. It doesn't matter if you acknowledge it or not. Sometimes we're here for a purpose, and I believe in that. I truly believe in that. And so, like, I think, and part of us, it's those individuals, I believe, that acknowledge that purpose and lean into it, that really start to realize their own greatness in this world. And I felt that, man. I'm gonna brag on you a little bit. I felt that way about you in bodybuilding, and I've gone on record and said, yeah, man, I really, really believe that Brandon Curry is one of the next guys who really can be the next Mr. Olympia, the next new Mr. Olympia. I really believe that. And it's because I felt genetically there's so many guys who have really great, like Flex Wheeler, probably one of the greatest genetically gifted athletes, but never got the Olympia. Why? And he's the first. I talked to him in Kuwait like a year and a half ago, and he was honest. Like, yeah, it was because I wasn't right up here. Like, I thought the world owed me everything, and I wasn't. And I totally didn't, utilize my talent, and it was all up here. And I think, man, when you tweak that right, then all of a sudden you turn, like, you take a guy like Branch Warren, who's really got. And I love Branch now, but he's not really the greatest genetically gifted guy, right, for bodybuilding. But he turned a mediocre genetic physique into won the Arnold twice, second at the Olympia, really a world-class physique, one of the best in the world, all through sheer effort, right, and belief. And that's like, man, like, that's the whole deal here. Like, we're creators. Like, this is awesome here in this experience. And sometimes there's these components of this life that just make it such a wonderful way to experience this life. But when we fight against it, man, we're adding our own resistance to it.
Well, I try to look, when I step back and I look at my situation, and I say, it couldn't happen any other way, because I needed to be humbled. I needed to be brought down in this position to where I could say, okay, yeah.
It's not just me.
Because I come in with so much success, so much hype, so much things going on.
It takes more than that.
In order to be able to look at things properly from this perspective now, because being in a position where I'm coming back up and everything's happening, I needed to be able to say, appreciate the people around me, appreciate the people that's allowed me to get better, appreciate the people that are patient with me. Because and it gives me a better perspective, on the whole outlook. So it allows me not to have too much of a big head in this, because I know it could have all went terrible. It could have all went bad. So
it's easy for it to go sideways on us.
For me, I appreciate it all, because my coach, he vouched for me to be here, and he vouched personally. He personally vouched for me to be here, and he'll be the first one to tell you. He personally vouched, and he said some things people don't necessarily agree with, but he's a visionary, and he's tenacious. He's gonna give it to you like he sees it. He don't care if you agree with him or not.
That's good.
So
That's
it's
good.
like,
I like
you
that.
know, so it's people like that that are around you to kind of reinforce you. I mean, support you, and you know, they give you that energy to keep going. And it's like he's battling with me. You know, he's battling with me, just like my wife. She's battling with me. She's willing to let me come out here, you know, chase this crazy dream to be the best bodybuilder I can be. You know, she's holding things down with the family, making sure everything in my kids' life is normal as could be. You know. So I got all these people battling for me, you know, and it's like, man, I just can't see myself, you know, just letting these people down either, you know. It's one thing to let yourself down.
Right.
But, you know, the support team, no, I got these people on my back that they're looking for me.
I really don't think, no matter what the end results are in your career from this point forward, with the kind of attitude that you have and the kind of foundation that you have spiritually and personally, I just don't think you could let any of these people down. You certainly couldn't let me down, no matter how you place, and mainly because I know the kind of person you are, and I really like that. I think that success for me is more than just a title or an award, although that's great. We don't want to ignore that. I was like, but we also don't want to ignore that there are so many other powerful elements in our lives that really inspire. Like, it's more inspirational for me to see a champion who more than just wins, but wins with a certain degree of dignity and wins with a certain degree of class and a certain degree of intelligence and a certain degree of respect and goodness and you know, well-being, some really good, something that is truly worthy of emulation. You know, that was one of the things I consider those attributes to be noble character attributes. And since I was a kid, if you were to ask me what I strove to want to be, it was I wanted to be someone who was worthy of emulation, somebody who's noble, has noble character, and whatever that means, you know. And I've spent my life trying to figure out what some of that means. It's like, and to me, it's a lot of it has to do with honesty, and a lot has to do with sincerity, but also has to do with truly enjoying the fabric of my life, but helping others to enjoy theirs as well through love and through joy. It's just really simple, and I try to do my best at that. And I find people who inspire other people, man, you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity to really do some of this, right? As a leader in an industry, in a sporting industry, or whatever it is. Even people who are in a church, or people who are in a company, doesn't matter, or even a family, right? Like, fathers and mothers have a unique responsibility that most don't recognize. I recognize my responsibility as a father because my daughter looks at me and I'm like Superman. She looks at me and she said, I remember like a year and a half ago, she said, "Daddy, are you as famous as The Rock?" And I'm like, not really. I was like, but she sees me that way, right? Like,
right. It's wonderful, right?
It is awesome.
Wonderful.
It is awesome, right? And so
that's what I'm saying. When my wife sends me video of all the kids, you know, they're at their friend's slumber party or whatever, and they're watching videos of the Olympia, and, you know,
like, that's my dad. That's my dad.
He's got a screensaver on his phone. It's my son's friend, you know. My son has hyped me up so much, you know. This kid, he's got me on his phone. It's like stuff like that is crazy. And then hearing, you know, all the people, appreciate you guys in my inbox, just being honest with me, telling me, you know, maybe you've been through hard times, and seeing me, you know, come out on the other side of hard times has inspired you. You know, that really, I really love hearing those stories. I love hearing those things that, you know, I'm not necessarily aware of. And then you take the time and the intimate moment to share these things with me. I really, really appreciate it, because it just lets me know, man, that, you know, there's nobody alone in this, and you inspire people all the time. And even if you're having a bad day, seeing something like that, it's like, wow, you know, it's like, it just changes everything. So,
well, sometimes I
appreciate you guys. Man. Appreciate you.
I think sometimes it can, even for people like who are in the limelight, who are on a pedestal, so to speak, it can feel lonely. It can feel a little bit like you can feel like you're alone. I know a lot of times, even if, no matter how much attention you get from, you know, winning or whatever it is, it can sometimes feel a little bit alone. And so that I could see how, I definitely love it when I get, and actually, it's kind of weird, because I get it from a different perspective. Even though I was a fairly successful bodybuilder, I consider myself a successful bodybuilder. I did win a national title, but I never competed as a pro, and which I'm happy, because I took my career in a slightly different direction. But when people, they'll contact me and they'll say, "Yeah, man, I'm really, like, you inspire me. I love what you have, what you're about, and I've been following you since I was a kid." I'm like, I'm like, since a kid, I'm like, am I that fucking old? I'm like, so that's what, but other than that, like, but it does make me feel good. Like, you know, that we all, and I tell people this, look, even if you're in the limelight or not, you inspire somebody, most likely.
Somebody's watching. Somebody's always watching you. You know, they watching you how you handle every situation, you know. And, you know, if you can be an example on perseverance, and, just being tough, mentally tough, and you know, just being grounded and not giving up, you know, if you can be that for somebody else, you know, it's just amazing. I mean, I want to be there for my kids, you know, but, you know, to be there for another adult, another peer, another bodybuilder, you know, in the industry, whoever it may be, you know, it's cool. It's just cool. It's something that you don't really think about in the beginning, but in hindsight, when it starts to come and people start to share those experiences with you, it's like, man, it's just wow. It's like, man, nothing's in vain, you know. Nothing's
absolutely, man. That's perfectly said. Nothing that we do, no matter what challenges we face, it all has such wonderful purpose if we allow it to. And the kind of funny because I think we get so focused on wanting to pursue goals and wanting to achieve things that we miss out on that day-to-day interaction. We miss out on the value that can have for us. Sounds like you're really sort of soaking that up, and I'm so glad to hear that, because I really believe that's part of the magic of success, of certain people's true success, that they are able to find the joy in all their experiences. There may be stuff in there like you miss your wife and you miss your kids, but there's also other stuff too. Like, it's not going to be that way forever, right? Like, you know, what was this most surprising thing, or like, I should say, what was the funniest or surprising sort of thing that you've experienced from a fan or from anybody in the industry, like a story, just out of curiosity, that you never expected?
Man, you know, the first time that I've had an awkward fan reaction, you know, you get people to faint and stuff like that.
I've never had that.
But when I was in LA, I experienced something I never experienced before. I was a young bodybuilder too, I guess, but I was out there a lot. And a guy standing in front of me, and I'm standing at a table, and I'm standing up, and it was Trey. Remember Trey Brewer?
Yeah.
He's beside me, right?
He's a big dude.
This one guy, he has a camera in his hand. He says, "Could you please let me take a picture of your bicep?" And I said, "Okay."
Okay.
So I throw up my arm and let him take a shot. And before he takes the picture, he just disappears. Like, and you hear, and he disappears. And Trey looks up over the table. I look over the table, and I'm thinking, where did this guy go? He literally just collapsed in front of me, and I'm thinking that's got to be the weirdest thing.
He fainted?
That's ever happened.
What did he, like, faint or something?
The weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. That same weekend, though, LA was the whole weird weekend. There was a guy that was watching me from about 15 feet away. You know how the expos have intersection, intersection? You know, he was just standing there. I'm thinking, why is this guy watching me, Trey? He's just weird. Like, what's going on with this dude? And he just didn't come up and say anything. He just was just there and watch. And it was just so creepy, bro. So I leave and I go to lunch. And man, sure enough, this guy I run into him. I'm like, he didn't even say anything.
He just staring at you.
He reaches his hand out and he shakes my hand. Okay? And I'm like, okay. But I realized there's something in my hand.
Huh?
And he handed me like a substantial amount of cash. And I'm thinking, and he walks away.
Huh?
That was just strange. And I'm like, who's this guy? He just handed me some money. The weird guy handed me money.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah. So
you never saw him again?
The LA Fit Expo. That was just strange.
So you never saw that guy again? He just disappeared?
Never saw the guy again. Never.
He just I want that to happen to me, man.
Yeah, 2 crazy incidences at bodybuilding expos.
Wow.
Just like, wow. The same day.
Now you got to realize, like, when you turn pro, did you expect to like be able to go to Olympia and be really one of the contenders, or be really one of the these top watched guys?
Well, my cocky little mind at the time, yeah.
And then, so what was that? So during that process, it sounded like before you said like, oh, you kind of got brought down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
What was?
Because I'm on this train and everybody's like, hey, you're great, you're good, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that, and at the time, I guess as a young guy, especially that young, and not experience a lot of life, you know, that can get to you.
Right.
That can mess you up if you take that too much. You know, you be good for nobody, and nobody can be around you. You know, everybody wants to be your friend because you're the popular guy, but
right.
really nobody can stand you. So, I'm kind of blessed enough to go to the point to where that just came to an end before it could get out of control. You know, because I could only imagine if that
kept going.
Such reality just kept building and building, and everything that I stepped foot in was just every door I stepped in was open for me. That probably would have been a big problem if I went through that whole phase until now.
I had a friend in college, a really close friend of mine in college. He was ranked number 12th in the country as a defensive back. His name was Brian Beck. He's still one of my good friends. And I remember we were in school, we were in college together, and he got drafted. He was on Oregon State. I got my Oregon State shirt on. He was playing for Oregon State, and we would train together. And I would help him with his routines and stuff. And I remember he got drafted by the Redskins, and it was the same year. By the way, that was the year that they went to the Super Bowl. They drafted him that year, and it was a nice big contract. But then he broke up with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend, she was pissed off about this, and he started dating this other girl that we both knew. She was a really nice lady, and his ex-girl was upset, and so she went to the police and said that he raped her, and of course being in kind of homogeneously white Corvallis, they kind of they arrested him and then they went to court. And of course, all of his friends and everybody vouched for him, said, "No, man, this is ex-girlfriend." And of course, they threw it out of court, but the Redskins dropped him from they dropped the contract, and it was like a $4 million contract. I'm like, bro, are you upset? And he's like, no. He's like, because he goes, this is the best thing to happen. He was very spiritual, and he's like, Ted, he said, if I had gone into the NFL. He said, man, I would be partying every day. Girls would be throwing themselves at me. They already were. Like, we would hang out. They were already doing that shit. And I was like, it would have been bad news. He says, this was God's way of showing me, of moving me in the direction that I needed to be. And he ended up getting his master's in education and going off and heading up, being principals at these Edison school projects in the inner cities. They would take over, these underperforming schools, and then he was really good at it. He would lock the doors, like this stuff you see in the movies, like lock the doors, keep the gang members out. Like he's like, I keep these rules, and he would turn these schools around. So he had the success story. But I remember thinking, man, because I like football, I'm like, oh man, you could have been playing. You could have got me on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, it takes a certain amount of honesty to look at it like that. You know what I mean? Because you have everything.
He could have been really upset. He could have been really jaded. And so anybody who experiences a high degree of success like you and stuff, and then it kind of feels like the rug gets pulled off underneath you. You can kind of feel jaded about it, and it could turn you around the opposite direction. Right. And so so just like we talked about earlier, I really believe it's attitude and mindset that keeps you moving in the right direction. That you can take that negative situation, you can take that potentially negative situation, and not use it to your best advantage, not use it as an experience of learning. Like, I think we should always ask ourselves 2 questions whenever we experience anything. What did I do to attract it? And what am I supposed to learn from this? If you can ask those questions, it keeps you in perspective and allows you to say, okay, this is really actually good for me. It's helping me learn, right? Like in your case, hey man, yeah, I can't just rest on my laurels. They're just not going to hand this stuff to me just out of nothing. I got to actually invest in myself and really develop myself. What was the first step for you for developing yourself, really moving you? Because you seem really today very comfortable with yourself now. You seem pretty happy, and you seem very adjusted, and also and a really wonderfully balanced champion. I really consider that that's really tough. Because I talk to a lot of guys, I know them, and they're wonderful guys, and gals, but some of them, they're still battling their own egos, their own insecurities, and they're using this as a platform to really justify or validate themselves. And I'm like, oh man, you're already great. This is just the icing on the cake, you don't. So what was it for you?
First of all, I was with the right woman,
Okay.
She challenged me, she basically challenged my ego to the greatest extent, because she knew, man, I had a big ego. She knew, she exposed it. Anything that I know about myself,
she's like,
she told me about myself. And, you know, it was just because of my own life experience that I just didn't see this stuff about myself. So I had to just start listening to her. And even though I may not always admittedly agree, you know, at the end of the day, when these situations would come up, you know, I'd be like, yeah, you know, she's right. She knows me. She knows me from a different perspective, you know. So, you know, basically just having that, you know, somebody that can be real with you, and give you the reality, not because they're trying to tear you down, but because they love you. You know?
Yeah, they want to build you up. They want you to realize your potential, and you can't realize your potential when you're self-deluding yourself, right?
Exactly. You can't do it. So, you know, me, of course, you know, being a man, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do.
No.
And you know, I can understand. You know, I can understand that. I've seen it. I've always been stubborn in a bad way and in a good way. So I have to realize when I'm being stubborn in a bad way, and be able to humble myself and you know, let that go. And then I have to realize the situations where my stubbornness actually benefits me. You know, so it's just kind of, you know, it's kind of being able to look at it from the right perspective, because it's not all bad, but you can't think it's all good either. You can't think this is gonna always work in your favor. So it just took me being honest with myself and being able to trust my wife and trust, you know, other people to care around me. You know, because no matter what, you know, she's gonna be real with me.
Well,
She's gonna be straight up real with me.
That's good. I think we all need that sort of grounder, person who can ground us. And I think people's in the past, I probably haven't been so good with having a mate that grounded me. I have a strong.
You can resist it.
Yeah.
You can resist it. I'm smarter. I can say I'm smart enough to know to use the English language to just manipulate myself out of sticky situations if I wanted to. I've done it with girls plenty of times. But, you know, when you got a woman that's gonna say, no, I know what you're doing, and you know, and I'm not gonna sit here and just act like it's gonna work. You know, then you have to say, okay, you know, you have to realize, okay, I'm caught, you know, and do I really want to battle this hard for me to prove this point, or for me to have this position that I have?
Is it that important?
Is it worth it to me?
Right.
Or is it's easier to just recognize, okay, she's not doing this because she don't like you. She may not like this part about you. She's not doing this for any ill intentions. She's trying to help you out, bro. You know? She's just trying to help you out. She's just trying to help you be a better person.
That's maturity, man.
Once you have kids, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Once you have kids, and you know, I have 3 boys, you start to see yourself.
Oh yeah.
Different parts of yourself in these boys, and you're thinking to yourself,
damn.
That is me. That's a part of me, and you find yourself trying to direct these young males in a better perspective and trying to help them overcome some of these natural tendencies that, you know, could be their downfall if they don't learn, you know, to look at themselves in a proper perspective, you know, or if you let them get carried away with these, you know, these certain egos or this certain, you know, you start to see that. You start to analyze yourself based on what you see in there. You know?
Well, you know, for me, being a father inspired me to really take that seriously, to develop myself internally. I mean, I was always on that path, but I really took it more seriously, really put me in check, especially when it came to women, because I was raised by a single mother, but so I have a deep respect for women as equals. But having a daughter, now all of a sudden, I viewed the women in my life who I was intimate with very differently, you know, because now someone's going to be looking at her that way someday. And I want her to be able to recognize the bozos from the ones who really do care about her and love her and have her best interests at heart. And so because I know she'll have theirs, of course, because that's the way I'm raising her. So, but what is it? So being a father, like, sounds like that was a growth experience as well, in terms of how you reflected on yourself and how did that move into your bodybuilding? Did it affect your bodybuilding?
Oh yeah, I mean, because they're watching you, you know, they're watching you, and you know, and you thinking, oh man, if I'm slacking here, if I'm doing that, and I'm seeing that in them, you know, it kind of can reflect upon maybe what they're picking up on me. So, you know, it's like, you know, I can't be honest with myself and say, maybe they won't notice that Dad is doing it. But you know, they can't help it. They emulate what they see. You know, emulate. They can't help. They just can't help it. And when you're trying to correct something between them, then it's almost like, okay, they're not going to get this if they don't have an example. They're just not going to hear my words. This is my words are just going to go, you know,
right over there.
Yeah, these kids, they have to see it. They got to understand it from a perspective, a visual perspective. As men, we're visual, you know.
Right.
Because their mama can talk to them all day, you know. you know how to tune women out. You know, we can tune women out if we want. And you know, so they're gonna have to see it. You know, they're not gonna. You know, even at a young age, it's just like I've always been logical. You know, you're gonna have to explain something to me. You're gonna have to take the time to help me work this out. So I find myself doing the same thing. I'm like, look, this is not about your emotions. This is not about your feelings. You know, this is about what you need to understand as a man. You know, you don't know what you're feeling right there now. It doesn't matter. You're upset. It does not matter. Understand what I'm trying to talk to you. Calm down. Understand what I'm trying to tell you. Because these feelings, they're temporary. That's not going to matter. You know, I need you to be responsible in this way because this is, you know, you got to respect him in this way. You know, it's just all the little things that you say, man. You know, if I don't take care of these things now and get them to learn these things now, they can end up, you know, like in a position that I saw myself possibly going in. It's not necessarily right. Or if they can learn these things earlier than I did, it you know, could prevent them from doing this and this and this wrong. You know, so it's like in as far as bodybuilding, it's like, man, you know, I'm gonna have to. This is my job, so my kids don't know any normal life. You know, if their dad's home, he's always home. You know,
right.
You know, if their dad's away, then he's away. You know, he's not the guy that comes home every day at a certain time of hour. They never see that, so they don't understand like real normal life.
How do they view that? How do they take that? Do they know like, okay, like how old are your three boys, for instance?
Let's see, we got 5, we got 9, and we got 6. 7
and your girl is.
And she's 14.
So how do they all view this? I'm sure they all view it differently. Like, dad's home for these months, he's away these months.
They don't have any other way to view it. They never seen anything different. I mean, they've never seen anything. I mean, when my daughter was young, she spent so much time with us. You know, it's ridiculous. She never was. She went everywhere with us. She went to the gym with us. She went everywhere with us. So, you know, all she knew was training, working hard. Dieting, eating, doing this, you know, all she knew was that. So in her life now, she's into soccer, and you know, and she's got that mentality. She works hard. She wants to be better. You know, she understands that, you know, she loves to train. You know, she understands it's going to make her better. You know, she's picked up on these things just because, you know, she knows if she's going to be successful in something, this is the model that you got to follow. You know.
That's good.
It's cool. But then we got to instill stuff like the stuff that she doesn't see, like the grades, you know, it doesn't come without this. You know, you got to, this is important too. All the physical aspects and everything is great, but you have to put the time in with the schooling, and you got to make sure that, you know, and then the boys, luckily for me, you know, mom is the emotional one. She's going to come with, you know, how she's feeling. And then I can come behind her as the good cop and communicate. You know what I mean? I can communicate. So, you know, you don't want to hear mom, you know, but you'll listen to me because I'm gonna give it to you in a way to where I'm not upset. I'm gonna explain it to you the best I want to have. I'm gonna give you some game. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you some game. You know, and then when you may not understand this game, but then you begin to see it. It's, you know, your friends tell you, oh, well, this is happening and this is happening, and you go, oh, my dad knows what he's talking about. Well, your mom does too. But
she just comes from a different perspective.
Yeah, she just comes from a different perspective. She's seeing her girl, you know, being taken advantage of. It makes her emotional. But I know you're not gonna listen to that in that emotional state. Because when my mom was emotional with me, I don't want to hear it. But if you explain something to me, you're trying to help me to learn, then it's kind of different. So it's these things with the kids, man. It's like, I enjoy being a dad, man. It's one of the best things ever, to be honest. And and problem solving with these kids is awesome. I mean, as much as it is frustrating, sometimes you sit back and you just laugh because you're thinking, you know, these kids, sometimes they're in a position where they think they know everything already, you know. Like, man, I used to be that. I used to think I know everything. And then,
like, trust me, in a couple of years, you're not going to care.
Yeah, exactly. And you think so many things are so important to them. And it's like, you're trying to get these points across. And, you know, hopefully they're picking up on, you know, examples and they're taking all this in. And you don't really know until you get these situations outside of yourself, or your wife's telling you this happened or that happened. You're like, man, they really listen to me. or you start to see your fruits of your labor, you know, they're paying off. So it's one of those investments that you make that, you know, it can really, really pay off, you know, and it can just, you know, if you're into it, you take it seriously, you know. So I love being a dad. I take it seriously, man, because this world is not getting any easier to live in.
No, man, it seems like it gets harder. It gets better, but there are aspects that absolutely get harder, especially with like social media and with like technology. How, as wonderful as it is, there are disadvantages. I actually read this research that they said that girls, the age of your daughter, that age group, growing up into the world of social media, and specifically girls, it doesn't seem to affect boys as much, but it affects girls in a way that makes them there's more cutters, there's more depression and anxiety, and they because they feel constantly judged, and they see these other women on social media, their friends, and then the girls, man, when they get bullied by other girls in school on social media, they are friggin' relentless, man. These girls are mean, man. I'm like, got boys, but I remember being in school, man. You have a beef with somebody, you duke it out, and then you're friends the next day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's like you get it over with. Hey, man, we're done. Are we good with this? And then you're done. But girls, man,
we went through the phase with the daughter, and we got to the point to where we was like, you know, you're different, and people like you because you're different. They want you to be you. You know, they reach a certain age where they all want to be the same.
Yeah, I know. Trying to find themselves.
They all want to look alike, and I'm thinking, no, you don't look like anybody else. You know, quit trying to straighten your hair. It's a waste of time. You know. Not gonna happen, you know.
Oh, man.
You know,
she don't want to straighten her hair, does she?
Like your friends like you for you.
And if they don't, you don't want them.
If they don't, you don't want them. So it took us, you know, we actually pulled her. She got so involved in soccer when she's traveling. We pulled her out of actual regular school. Well, first she went to a soccer school.
Okay.
Where they only did soccer. And then we pulled her out because she went to another league. So she travels quite a bit. So she's actually homeschooled.
Oh.
And just to see her get comfortable with herself.
So the homeschooling helped her get more comfortable?
Oh, man, just to see her get comfortable with herself and not think she had to keep up with this trend or that trend and just become her own unique person. It's been awesome. That's cool. It's been awesome. Good. Everybody tells you, oh, they don't get socialization and this and this.
You don't need it. You don't need that kind of socialization.
She has teams. She spends time with teams, and she even communicates with her old friends that she went to school with. And she's always helping them with their issues and their problems.
It's because she's grounded. It sounds like she's more grounded.
She's that kind of friend. She's a good friend. And so, but I remember when she was going through that phase. I'm like, so you're not like anybody else. Don't try to be like everybody. You're you. Be you. That's all you can be. Don't worry about being like this person, that person, this person.
That's such an important message. It's
for girls, definitely.
I got my little girl. I can see her starting to have these tendencies now to like wanna so and so said this about me, or she's trying to fit in, sort of speak a little bit. And her and I talk a lot about like, Daddy has one rock solid rule in his house is find your joy. Find your joy. That's what you do. And then we talk about consequences, and we talk about responsibility. We talk about these things, and we talk through things. I don't just bark orders at her. We talk about things. Because I'm like you, man. Like my mother did that with me. My mother was not an emotional person. She sat down to Tad. Because she figured out real fast. I said, Mom, before I had children, I said, Mom, you did such a great job. I said, what kind of advice do you have for me? Because I didn't have a father, and so all I had was a mother. So I said, well, what would you have? She said, Tad, you and your brother were pretty easy, but she said, your brother was super easy. All I had to do was give him a spanking, and he got the picture. He said, but I could whoop you, and it wouldn't make a difference. You just went ahead and did it anyways. Until I figured it out when you were about 8 or 9 years old. All I had to do was sit you down and talk to you and explain to you. You didn't have to agree. You just had to understand. And then you flew straight. It was easy. And I didn't have no problem. So I do that with my daughter. She's like me. She's got to understand. When she doesn't understand, she's just going to find her way.
She'll challenge you.
Or she'll be miserable.
Right.
You know, and I don't want her to be miserable. Gosh.
Right.
Did you have a father? Did you grow up with a father figure?
Oh yeah, my dad, you know, he was your typical dad. He worked, you know, full time. So, you know, depending on if he worked night shift, depending on if he worked day shift, depending on when I see him. But my dad has always been like supportive. Now, he wasn't necessarily disciplinarian.
Oh.
My mom was a disciplinarian. So when my dad would have to, you know, to discipline me, I could always manipulate my way out of it, you know. I could talk to him about it. I could act like, you know, I could always kind of get him. Most of the time, I could get him not to get me in trouble, you know. So
Let's talk about this, Dad. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, you know. So most of the time, he was kind of cool like that. But you know, my dad is one of those people that, you know, he's a talented guy. Like, he's a really talented guy, and he was always a perfectionist.
Oh.
I used to not like that about my dad. Everything had to be clean. Everything had to be a certain way, and I'm thinking, I just didn't like that. But when I think about my dad, I think my dad, you know, if he really, really took the opportunity to do what I think he wanted to do, instead of, you know, just, you know, how we get stuck in a rut and we follow the pattern of just American society, work for the corporations, work for this, work for that.
We do what we have to do instead of what we want to do.
Right, because that's what you've been taught, you know.
Right.
Your
get the job.
You get a good job, you know, this is what you do, this is what you do.
Don't follow heaven forbid, don't follow your dreams.
If he would have went outside the box a lot earlier in life, I think he would have been incredibly successful. But, you know, he kind of stayed in that safe box.
What did he do when you were growing up?
Well, he worked he was a manager supervisor at a plant, at the Nissan plant for like 11 years. Okay. Then he went to Dale after that. So now he's kind of doing his own thing. You know, he dresses me basically. Like, if you see me in anything, he does my shopping, because I don't take the time to do shopping for the most part. My dad, when I have my shows, he would always go be my personal stylist, my dresser, and everything. So he has different talents, and he's good in the kitchen. He's good in all kind of different things. He's really creative guy. But, you know, I look at my dad and say, man, and he was also a very fast guy.
Oh.
Very, very fast guy, but he never was an athlete.
Really?
Which is the craziest thing to me. I seen him, we were at an event, he smoked all the day. I realized my dad, and when I was growing up, I could never beat him in a race. But I think my dad, he never did anything with it. Like, he never did anything. I was like,
maybe you got some of that athletic genetic potential from him.
Right. Well, we're built totally different.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's taller than me, and he has bigger joints.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but he's always slim. He's not a fat guy.
Right.
So he has a hard time gaining weight. He's always slim, but you can see he has bigger joints than me. So I have the smaller bodybuilder joints. He has more robust joints, and he's a little bit taller than me. But yes, but we have slightly different personalities. But, you know, it's just seeing my dad, you know, his perfection. Everything had to be this way, had to be that way, had to be this way. And, you know, it's like, for me having to always know why and seeing a point.
He probably didn't like that.
Clashes at times, you know. So I'm a little bit different than him. But, you know, I look at my dad and I'm talking, man, my dad only just took some risks early. You know, because he has a personality that he can get along with anybody.
Oh, wow.
Everybody likes him, you know. It's like, oh, you know. But, you know, it's just, I just feel like he's kind of guy. If he just went out on a limb a little bit earlier, he would have did some crazy things. But
was your mother? What about your mother? What was she like?
My mother was apparently a tough girl growing up.
Oh, really? Wow.
Listen to my uncles. You know, she's always, you know, she grew up in a family of 8, so she had a lot of brothers and sisters, and, you know, they grew up in the projects, but pretty successful in the project, because my granddaddy was a hustler.
Oh.
You know? Yeah. No. So my granddad, he used to have cash everywhere. Like, he used to give me money for no reason. Money, you know. But But she had a lot of brothers and sisters, so she was like, she was a tough girl. But she never did anything sports oriented either.
Oh.
But I used to hate playing basketball with my mom because she was so rough. Like she was so rough. She was too rough for me. Like, oh, you gotta quit fouling. You gotta quit being so aggressive, And to this day, she like battles and she fights with my, she'll fight and wrestle around with my kids and everything. And she even do it with me sometimes. She's got a lot of energy. A big personality kind of thing.
She big? Is she tall as well?
No, she's a short. She's short. Yeah, she's probably like 5'3" or something like that.
Okay.
So she's a short lady. So, it's she's got a very big personality. When my mom's around,
you know it.
And she's just. She's at a bodybuilding show. She's like swooning over all the guys. Woo, look at that muscle. Woo. She's something else, man. I love my mom. She's never a dull moment with my mom.
I like that.
But
what about your sisters? What about your now? You say you had 3 sisters?
Yeah, I had 2 sisters, 3 years younger, and
okay.
3 or 4 years younger. And my dad didn't allow them to play sports when they grew up.
Really?
And he didn't believe in girls playing sports. He's traditional,
Okay,
he's really
okay.
traditional. And that's probably how he was raised, But so my sisters, they never were involved in anything sports wise, but they're really successful, really smart girls. Never really a problem. They used to always get me in trouble because I was the creative one, always doing stuff, and if something go wrong, I'm the one in trouble.
Were they? Now, did you say they were older than you?
No, they were younger than me.
Oh, they were young. They were getting you
coming up with games. I'm coming up with different things, and some one of them get hurt, and then it was like it's on me. I'm in trouble. So I had to learn how to separate myself so I would get in trouble. But my younger sister is the tough one. I taught her how to wrestle. I taught her how to fight, so she never had a problem with guys, She even to this day would come up and get me in a chokehold and see if I can get out of it.
Shit.
She'll do that because, I taught her that. She's like, yeah. She said, I did this on this guy when she was in college. It really works. It really worked. This really works. So she's a cool personality. And my middle sister, I used to battle with her a lot because she's my middle sister, and I wanted a brother instead of a sister at the time. So I probably treated my younger sister like the brother I never had. And my middle sister, I was kind of, because she was more like sensitive, and she always thought, she always said everything was unfair. I always got my way. I always got to do this.
That's the middle child syndrome. You know that, right?
She's always complaining about the way my life was, And but she's a very smart woman. She's got like 2 kids now. My younger sister doesn't have any kids, and she's successful. Her husband's a lawyer, and she's all my family. Everybody's doing pretty good.
Are they all in Tennessee?
Everybody's in Tennessee, yeah.
Wait, now where at in Tennessee? Because
Nashville is where we're from.
Okay.
Nashville is originally where we're from. So, but my middle sister, Brittany, she lives in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
She lives about probably like 10 minutes away from me.
I'll tell you, I went and judged a show there, or actually I was there at the Flex's show. Yeah, and dude, I fell in love with Tennessee, specifically in that Nashville area. I said, man, if there was somewhere else I was going to move, it would be someplace like this. Absolutely, man. I'm like,
man, I hear the story. I've been there all my life, and that's what I hear story after story. I hear people that broke down in Nashville and then never left. I've heard this story more than once.
I am not kidding, man. That is not only were the people nice, I like the food, of course. I kind of like Southern. My family's from the South. I kind of like that. At least my mother's side. I like the food, but I like the people. And I gotta be honest, man. There's nothing like a woman with a Southern accent. I'm sorry. I just think it's sexy. Okay, that's just me. Okay. but it was.
That's why my wife had no problem coming to Nashville area because. She's used to the aloha spirit, and she's used to that, so that Southern hospitality kind of reminded her of that, and she's the one that got me to move back home,
Oh, really? I would have thought she would want to go to Hawaii, like live in Hawaii, because.
Well, Hawaii is great, but
it is remote.
Crowded. Everything's overpriced,
Oh yeah, no, it's like ridiculous.
If you living on an island, you don't have time to vacation. You got to work. To make it, you know what I mean?
And it's sad. It's kind of sad because a lot of the locals, they don't do well. And so
they always You know, always trying to make, enough money to make a living, If they get to go see the beach every once in a while, the weekends, that's awesome, Yeah. I mean, my brother-in-law, he's doing really, really well for himself. He just had his first kid, but he works with the Navy.
Oh,
I guess
cool.
works on base with nuclear submarines.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he's got a good little trade job he had right out of high school, so it's paying him good money. And he married a woman that's she's very successful too. So they're doing great.
They live on Honolulu, right? They live probably in Honolulu.
Yeah.
Exactly. My father was born in Honolulu. So
you were?
My father was.
My
father was born in Honolulu, and actually all of my father's family are Native Hawaiian and Japanese. That's that's half of me. And that side of my family, they were all really wealthy. Like they had like farms in Kona and stuff. And my cousin was the late Senator Daniel Inouye. That was my cousin. So like he died a couple years ago, but he was my cousin. So every time I go there, as soon as I pay for something, they see my name. They're like, "Oh, are you related to the senator?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's my cousin." Like that, and then I get a story.
You got the hookup, right?
Yeah, I haven't, but I've always wanted to go there at some point in my life, and that's where I want to retire and like sort of be. Because when I go there, man, I feel like I'm going home. Even though I didn't grow up there, because I was born in California. I didn't grow up there. I didn't I was born in Inglewood. It's like,
see, bro, I love it there. And let's see what was there. I think it was last spring. Last time I was there. But I love it there. But I visited so many times. But man, I mean, the island is getting packed. I remember leaving. We had a little birthday celebration for my wife at the beach with a couple of her friends there. And I remember leaving the beach and going back to downtown where we're staying. And it wasn't downtown, but we had a little drive, and the traffic was so terrible. Man, yeah. It was so bad because so many people were trying to go. I mean, it's like I didn't remember it being so bad. I didn't remember the upkeep of the foliage on the internet. I noticed everything. The upkeep of the interstate, the foliage, and how it used to be. And I'm like,
you're like, man,
it's just too many people. There's too many people on that one island. It kind of takes away from that.
I wanted to. If I was going to go back, I would probably go to Kona. Like that's
Kona's definitely where I think it would be better.
I
love the island. I love the people. But man, it's just sometimes it's just too much. I mean, because we got so many people to see. And when you got so much.
She has a big family there.
I mean, she got so many people there. Even though most of her brothers and sisters have moved off the island, she's from Wamanalo. She's from a very sovereign town. So it's so much family there. So when we go, everybody wants to see us. So it's I prep most of my USA prep there.
Oh really? Oh yeah.
Man. I used to wake up the roosters every morning.
I know that. Well, the chickens and shit, they were just walking around everywhere.
I literally slept in the carport. They call it garage, but I literally slept in the carport because it was nice.
Oh right.
And I get up, I do my cardio, and I'm walking along the strip. Everybody wave at me when I go by.
Isn't that nice?
I'm walking doing my cardio like this.
You get a little bit of delt action there.
Yeah, everybody driving by because the town she lives in only got 2 stoplights. And
she lives out. She probably lived right outside of Honolulu or something. Is that where?
Yeah, Wamanalo.
Wamanalo, okay.
The first sovereign town in
nice.
Oahu.
Oh
first
man.
Landing. Right, like where the beach and the mountains are just right there.
When I go there, my favorite island is Kuwait. Not a lot of people. But it's romantic. But there's the waterfalls. But also because everybody knows each other, and like you're not getting away with nothing over there. I'm sorry, like you're not. It's like, and I kind of like that. Like I like being able to leave my door open. I don't want to. And I want to like.
That's the life, man.
Yeah, like I truly believe in that aloha spirit. Like I believe in that. Like I want to show love to everybody. It's not about me getting anything in return. It's about me feeling good.
That's what I love, man. I love when it's hard not to feel like, especially when you got my wife's from there. It's not hard for me not to feel at home when I'm there.
Right.
Just by the way, the feel of the people, the way they treat me, the love, man. It's just hard, It's hard not to feel at home, And it's not. I'm not like it. We don't hang around the tourist spots. We may visit here, have breakfast here, eat there. But I'm 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 deep there. Even though her dad's not from there, he lived deep in Hawaii.
Oh, really?
We're all around Hawaii. You know, he's like the only white man in the town. You know, and her mom was from the Big Island, so
okay.
It's like she has so many cousins. And
wow, that's nice.
It's just great.
Does she miss it? Does she miss it, or does she? Because you said she liked it.
Of course, she misses it. You know, she always she's told me as soon as I get back home, she with or without me, she's done. I know she wants to see her her new niece though. Too.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So whether I go or not, she's like, I'm going. I'm like, go have fun. Go ahead. It's all good. I said, I know you need to go smell the ocean, and you know, she grew up surfing and everything. So
oh man, that's awesome.
A while ago.
That's what my mother told me. I didn't grow up with my father in the house, but when he grew up there in Honolulu, and he surfed every day. And he actually was the world surfing champion in 1959. He surfed the pipeline.
Oh, wow.
He had the longboards on the pipeline.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, man! Like, and then his dream was to get off the island. He's like, my mother said because that's how they met. They met in California. He wanted to move to California, Southern California, and he wanted to marry a farm girl. And my mother's an Oregon farm girl, so he did exactly that. And he wanted to build engines and race cars. He was a race car driver. That's what he did. And so that's what he did. Exactly what he did.
You know, some people like that. Some people want to get off the rock.
They want to get off.
Some people are afraid to leave the rock. I met them too. I met guys that haven't even left their town. in Hawaii itself, you know. Those, I'm like, wow, they don't even want to go nowhere.
Well, they say that 75% of the people you'll ever meet never move within 30 miles of where they were born.
In Hawaii, that is true.
Well, anywhere.
Your whole family moves into one house out there a lot of times.
Oh, wow.
The whole family would be there. I mean, when I went out there with my wife, man, everybody was living in the mom's house.
Oh, wow.
Every family had a room. Everyone. So it's like, and then they had neighbors that they've been neighbors for like 20 years, 15 years, you know?
Oh.
Nothing changed, bro. Nothing. It changed very slow. Very slow.
I imagine it would be hard there. It would be hard for a lot of things to change. I would really like, it would be nice to see that community there, the local community, flourish a little bit more. I think it gets, you know, it was one of the few states that was annexed, right? We annexed that state. So it wasn't like they went willing, like they wanted to come and be in the United States. It was like it was annexed. So the indigenous people, the Native Hawaiians, kind of got the raw end of the stick, I think.
Yeah, they definitely got the raw end of the stick. You know? Yeah. They still fighting to this day.
I know, man. Like I keep getting, you know Ernie.
Yeah, Ernest, yeah.
And so whenever he talks to me, he calls me senator because he knows my cousin was a senator. Right. And he's like, and he and some other people are like, oh yeah, you're gonna come and like run for office and stuff. I said, yeah, maybe I might, because every time I go there, that's really fun. But I would love to be able to participate in some way to do something good for the local community, not just the Hawaiians, but the people who live there locally. You know, because
they need it. I mean, they need it, man. Because in the wrong hands, you know, that island can just become a disaster. Because you know, the wrong politicians in there. You know, it's too much self-interest and business interests in the wrong, because you know you got who was it, Mark Zuckerberg? I mean,
so yeah,
he took a bunch of people's property.
No kidding. Damn.
The government let him take a bunch of people. Like these people had I guess land deeds, and it was so broken up. I guess
he bought them all
out. He just bought it all out, and so these people don't even have. And there's so many protests going on. Even Monsanto's there.
Oh man. Yeah.
And they're trying to get him off. They're protesting to this day about it. You know?
There was I don't know if you remember back in the 90s, Steve Case, who founded AOL. When he sold out, he had billions of dollars. He went and bought a bunch of land right there in Kuwait. And he ended up giving it to the government and to preserve it. Because otherwise he knew, along with other people, they knew that, look, man, it's going to get all touristy. They're going to just build stuff on it. It's going to destroy this natural land. And so I'm so glad that happened. It gives me hope. There's good people out there in the world that want to do some nice things, you know.
You got to preserve something like that because once those
once
paradises
it's
like that,
once it's
go
gone,
away, you can't get them back.
Yeah, no,
you can't get them back.
It's gone. It's gone. You know, and then we had it's one of the, in my opinion, it's one of the few paradises out there that truly there's some, you know. But I think that we make our own paradises as well, you know, wherever we're at, and it exists right here in our heart. And but it sure helps, man, when you have a nice beach to look at and you have
Nothing like it, bro. Nothing like it. Me and my wife went to the Maldives for like our anniversary, man, and it was just a small little island we were on. We had like a little villa, man, but it was like the best vacation of nothing that we ever had, man. It's just something about it, just being out the ocean and just enjoying the elements, man. It's just awesome.
Yeah. So do you get a lot? Do you get your time there in Kuwait though? Because that's a different atmosphere too. When I went out there, one of the things that I recognized right away is that when I went to the gym, I had that. By the way, I went to the bigger one, the bigger oxygen gym with the 4 levels. That's a kick-ass gym, man. Probably the best gym I've seen in the world. But I'm looking around and I'm like going, dude, something's missing, man. And like, yeah, man, there's no women here. I'm like, they work out somewhere else. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, but that was a big change for me because some of that, you know, is kind of motivating. I'm not one of those people that like, you know, when I go to the gym, I go there to train. I don't really, you know, like pick up on girls and shit like that. That's not my thing. But I do think like that was different for me to experience that. And then when I went to the mall, like, you know, Sager, he took us to the mall. He's like, oh, I want to show you these malls. And I'm like, you get like, how do I put this? It seemed like the women were like, they don't look you in the eyes, and it's the Muslim culture. You know, it's very different. And so I totally get how it can keep somebody focused.
Hey, bro, it's so strange. Like you'll walk by a woman, right? And she won't even make eye contact with you. She won't even look at you. But it's something different about being in a car.
Okay.
I don't know. I've gotten honked at. I've gotten waved at when the woman is in a car. But
really?
when she's out in the open and everybody can see her, you're not gonna get any.
Oh wow.
But if they're in a car, I guess they feel secure in the car. They may wave, they may smile. You know.
Wow.
They get something. But if they're out and people can see them, then
forget it.
You don't exist.
That's interesting. Strange. One of the things when we were driving around, I remember I was like, do these people have laws on the road? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, man. We were just forcing our way in, and everybody seemed to know what to do. Everybody seemed to know what to do. Like it was the most. I'm like, dude, this dude's like 3 inches from your car, bro. I was like, he's like, nah, they do, man. It's like it's wild, you know. But such a nice people. Everybody I met, they were so nice, and I did appreciate. But I'm always looking for the best in people. I admit.
You know, Kuwaitis, you know, they've been real supportive and real nice with me out here. So I can't really complain about that. I mean, you be out and about, people want pictures. You know, they.
Oh, that's cool.
Some even the domestic workers and the guys that they come in for work. They just freak out, you know, depending on where they from, Bangladesh or wherever they. Muscles.
That was amazing. I never would have guessed that the local people and people in the Middle East in that part is also India, but specifically in the Middle East, in Kuwait and Dubai and all these places, they just go nuts over bodybuilding. They love it. They absolutely love it. I was like, wow, I did no idea, right? Like, because we get in our own little world here in the United States, we think the world fucking revolves around us, right? Like it's like about us, right? But there's a whole other world out there of whole different kinds of people, and they actually like some of the same shit that we like. It's like,
to a great degree. I mean, the masculine kind of society of building your body, the muscles. You know, they're really into it. They're really into that culture here. It's like what they pay here for a gym membership. You know.
Oh man, I know.
You couldn't get nobody to pay like that in America.
I mean, I know when I was talking, I had Jay Cutler on the show, and he asked, where do you work out? And I said, oh, yeah, I work at Lifetime Fitness. He's like, oh, man, that's like $120-something a month. He's like, fuck that. I'm like, yeah. I kind of like my towel service. I'm kind of pampered. I kind of like a few little nice things. But over there, it's kind of standard. Like, I think Bader said it was like he charges like, I think $150, $190 a month, something like that. And I'm like, man, nobody was going to pay that. Like here, like they're not going to pay that here, you know?
Yeah, he's got 4 gyms, man.
Oh, I know. He told me the numbers.
15 minutes away from each other, bro.
I know. He told me that he had like 40-something thousand members total in his. I was like, oh my god! And I started doing the math. I'm like, dude, bro, you're banking. That's awesome.
And they're 2 minutes away from each other, bro. The Kuwait's not big.
No, so everybody must work out.
All the guys, man, they love it, man. The gyms are always busy, bro.
So when you came over there, did everybody, you got a very warm reception, I imagine.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the thing about the culture that shocked me, man. Everybody just leaves their stuff around, you know. So you got a cafe full of bags. People leave their wallets out.
Nobody cares. People
don't really take stuff around. It's weird.
Don't do that here in Chicago.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like I could leave something in the gym, and I'll be like, I'll go back and get it later. I can go back and get it later.
Wow.
You know? Like people leave their bags in there and stuff in there.
Do you think that's reflective of the moral temperature there, or is it something else?
It's got to be. It's got to just be the culture. I mean,
because here, man, we got here in the States.
I guess there's not a lot of people. You know, I don't think there are a lot of people like in serious need here. You know, you're not going to see any homeless people in Kuwait.
Right.
It's just not. You know, if anybody's here, they're here to work. And, you know, the Kuwaitis, they don't have to worry about anything. The government, you know, make sure the Kuwaiti people are good.
Yeah, they get that. They get a monthly stipend. Sager told me all about it. I was like, damn, that's awesome, bro.
you born in Kuwait, it's like a country club. You know, Kuwait, you know, it's you taken care of. You don't have to worry about nothing, you know?
Yeah, he was telling.
I don't think it's just got that mentality where people just feel like they got to take something from somebody else.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It's nice. Because man, here in Chicago, man, like I moved to Chicago a year and a half ago. Man, you can't do that, man. I'm sorry, man. They'll take it out of your pocket if you can. Like
I don't know, and maybe the repercussions are bad enough that people just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do think there's something to be said for, you know, you meet people's basic needs, and most people will be good. They'll be moral. You know, I think I really do believe that. I think that, but when people don't feel like their basic needs are being met, then you start running into some problems. You know, people are that's why I'm a big advocate of socialized healthcare and all these, because I really believe that, man, we got to meet people's basic needs all over the world. And I'm a person that believes in a global community. I'm not one of these, I'm not a big person that's like, America first. No, man. America shouldn't be first. America should be with everybody else. That's what I think. That's my personal belief. I think that we should think of ourselves, then the people that are going to be thinking of ourselves within a global context, they're the progressive thinkers. They're the people who are going to be, or who are going to change the world in the better ways. And who are going to, I think that's the direction we're going, between the economies and between our cultures. We have to do this. And it follows suit with the spirit of aloha. It follows suit with all these things. We all need to just I hate to sound like a hippie, but we all need to love each other a little bit more, man. Have some caring, right?
That's great. But the only thing I will say is we don't need a select group of people making all the decisions for everybody.
No, I agree. I agree about that. I agree.
That is the only thing I worry about with certain, you know, because we as human beings have a tendency to give everything away to somebody we think is better or on a better platform than us. You know? Sure. Like we give all, you know, we'll give our rights away. And say, for safety, we'll give our rights away.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So that's the only thing we have to worry about when it comes to making sure we don't give over too much of the power of the people.
Well, then we run the risk of there's some dictatorship issues. There's all kinds of issues like people get taken, because you know when too much power exists in a localized, you know, individuals, lots of indiscretions happen. You know, people look out for, they're self-interested, you know, and they want money and power.
Together but separate is always, you know, it's always good, because you have checks and balances.
Yes.
That have to exist, because, you know, at the end of the day, we can't find a perfect system.
No.
It never will be one.
Yeah, it's a constantly evolving thing. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no. Well, it's because we're not perfect.
Right. So the little diversity is always what's gonna. balance.
I just think that when it comes to like looking at us, we need Americans or any set of individuals, whether it doesn't matter what country, that we should be more inclusive, and that means that
we should get to understand each other from a different point of view.
Yes,
because I think that's the biggest thing about Americans outside of America that Americans don't know within America is that we get looked at a certain way, and
What was it? How did they see you? Like, I'm curious. Like, being an American,
fortunately for me, I don't immediately wear that American flag to where I'm immediately identified as American. They have to add some pride and say, you're okay.
Oh, okay.
Because until they know, until they actually know, then if they have a preconceived notion, it's a different story. They may not be the nicest person to you, depending on where they're from.
Oh, really? Okay.
But if they get to know you first, and they get to experience, then you tell them you're from America. Then they realize, okay, maybe not all Americans think they're superior to everybody, and think everybody owes them something, or have no actual world view and think they know everything about the world, based on the news that they watch, So we sometimes the rest of the world could be perceived as very ignorant.
Absolutely. Well, I think we are very eccentric. Most people, many, not everybody, but many Americans, very eccentric, and we kind of think of ourselves. Like I said, we think everything revolves around us. And it's
but they do have a stereotype.
Oh, really? What's the stereotype? What's the stereotype?
Well, man, it's kind of you don't fit the profile.
Oh.
I don't necessarily fit the profile, but we kind of, if we watch television, we kind of can find that profile that they kind of expect. That's kind of what they're giving, this profile.
Okay.
That they expect and they look for. So if you fit that profile, then they're already turning their nose up at you.
Oh, wow.
If you're loud, if you're overweight, it's interesting, because I only know this by talking to people.
Oh, really?
I expected you to be like this, and expected you to look at, have this opinion, or think of things like this, and I'm just like, no. I'll just be honest. America's a very broad space. We have a lot of places that are just totally different from each other. That means it's a lot of people that are just totally different from each other and have different opinions. So what you may view from maybe a mainstream perspective may not be what you get out of every American in general. So, I mean, this is from flight attendants to to people that apparently work with our American people on a regular basis. They have these preconceived notions, I guess.
I can see why. I mean, I can certainly see why. So now,
but it's like that in all cultures. Even in the Middle East, they have their opinions of their neighbors and their neighbors, their cousins. They have their preconceived notions.
I'll tell you one thing, man. When he showed me, Sager took me to his house and showed me, and then he showed me some, and I'm like, all those homes, man, they look huge. They look nice and they look huge. I'm like, damn, dude, this is. He's like, yeah, everybody gets one. I was like, damn, I need to be a Kuwaiti.
Separate living quarters, you got
different levels.
Children, and then your man's got his own.
Yeah, he's like, my mom and they live on this level, we live on this level. I'm like, wow, man, that's awesome. I was like,
yeah, that's crazy, right?
It is, man. It's like there is a different world out there. So switching gears a little bit before we end this our interview here, but so you're going to be at the Arnold, and I'm excited to see you there. Give me a little bit of what we can expect, or at least, or what's your expectation?
Well, as of right now, man, we feel like we're coming in even more improved from the Olympia. We feel like this prep is going.
You look great at the Olympia, by the way.
Going very, very good. I mean, we made some tweaks, and I just think you're gonna find a more complete physique, a little bit more muscle maturity, and I think the conditioning is gonna be better for this show. The way things are going, so we were very, very confident going into the show. It's not been a strenuous prep, but it's just like we've been working the way we need to work, and my coach is on it, man. He's laid out the game plan, and And you know, people look at me on a regular basis and say, "I'm in the shows next week." No, I'm not shows.
Is that the biggest difference? Like, what's the biggest difference for you walking into the Arnold this year versus walking into the Olympia or any other pro show that you've done the last year?
Well, walking to the Olympia, I was expecting this probably for that top 5, which we definitely did. But we went to the Arnold, and we expecting to have our title. That's
awesome.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we want to do. And I just, we've studied and we've looked at everything that's ahead of us, and we just don't see that as a far reach.
No. I don't. I personally don't see it. I personally don't see that as a far reach. I see it as a very distinct possibility. I think that the only advice I would say is put it in your mind and don't let it move.
It's in our head. It's definitely in our heads, and we get confirmation of the possibility each and every day.
Good.
Each and every day. So it's just like walk into it. Just keep this mind frame, keep this focus, and just try not to mess anything up.
Have you been? You won't. Have you been out to see Jim? Has he asked to come see? Has he asked to see you yet, or anything like that?
To see Jim? No, he hasn't asked to see. We've got some. We've of course apparently my coach has some things in the background, things floating around, getting people's opinions and different.
Good.
Nothing but good information coming from him. So he gets excited and every day. He called me tonight. He got a phone with Phil Heath apparently. And,
oh, nice.
So some good things. And so he's behind the scenes talking to people and getting his updates. So we'll probably see Steve before.
Okay.
Before I think we're gonna fly out to New York right before we go to Columbus. So
okay, cool.
Go holler at Steve, making sure even though he's seen some things I heard.
Well, man,
we'll be in New York anyway. We gotta stop there. So.
Well, man, I am excited to see you on stage. I'm excited to see you again at the Arnold. I'll see you there when you're there. I'll see you there backstage and stuff, and I'm rooting for you. You know that. I think the world of you, man. Not only as a person, but as a bodybuilder, and now as a father, and also as a husband. I think you're a wonderful representation of what a good champion should be like. So, good job, man. Good job.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm just a human, man. I'm learning like everybody else, man.
That's all it takes, right? Well, I will, again, like I said, it'll be, I guess, just a little less than a month. I'll see you. So let that excitement build, man. Dream big, dream about winning, because I'd love to see you grab that trophy in the winner's circle. You got it within you. I know you do. So, I'll see you in a month. Let everybody know where they can reach you if you want them to reach you.
These places, Instagram, Brandon _2 Curry. That's probably the easiest way to reach me. I'm on there consistently, and I got to keep up with the messages, otherwise I'll be way behind. So, just hit me up on there, guys. Keep on following me. I'll put some progress stuff up that I'm allowed to. So. I like that you've been more vocal and more visible in the last couple of years than you have been in previous years. I make it a point to tell a lot of the pros that I interact with, like, so important, like in the space that we live in today, in the bodybuilding industry today versus, years ago, you really have to be a little visible. You have to be a little more accessible. It was hard. I can't lie. It was hard for me to make the transition, coming from the magazine era.
I know.
To the social media era. It was a struggle. My wife had to literally just beat this into my head. Do it. So she finally, she kind of got me, just routine into it, and enjoying the process and looking at it from a different perspective.
Exactly. Have fun with it. Like, it's adding value. Let it add value. And then if it's the stuff that doesn't, you just kind of push that aside.
I was totally old school.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you, man. When I see you there, we'll take a picture, man, and I'll be able to say hi to you. And then, of course, hopefully I'll be able to shake your hand in the winner's circle. Is your wife going to be there? Is Brandon going to be there?
Oh, yeah, she's going to be there. The kid's going to be there.
Awesome. All right, I'll say hi to them, too. Well, you'll say hi to them before then. Tell her I said hi and wish them the best for me. And then, of course, I'll see you guys in a month, okay?
All right, bro.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Handle your high with Tadayoshi.